All right, thirdly, I want to do a dish that I stole from a restaurant, a favorite place of mine. The chef there is Northern Italian, but he can sure cook. The restaurant is Northern Italian, the chef is Polish. So he comes up with some wonderful ideas. This one is great. I'm going to cook some scallops for you. We need some olive oil in a hot pan. Whoops, don't want wine, we want olive oil. And the scallops are ready to go. Everything is prepared already, so I can just throw them in the pan and toss them about. Very simple. We're going to make scallops in pesto. I want some carrot sticks. Aren't these beautiful little things? You want to see how these are made? I have a gadget that is more fun. Here it is. Here it is. It's very easy. You see it has little teeth on it, and you slice them down this way, and they turn into sticks. You have to break them up, of course, the carrot sticks together. But here we have a pan full of carrot sticks now. I want to throw in a bit of green onion, just a smidgen. We don't want to get in the way of the scallops. We want off the scallop support. And, of course, some garlic. Oh, a clove. Good Lord, you put garlic in everything. I thought you were doing a show on lovemaking. Garlic is a known aphrodisiac. It's also the healthiest thing you can possibly do for your heart. Okay, that's fine. It's time for the scallops. These are beautiful little bay scallops. I'm going to do this on high heat now because I don't want to cook these. You know, I just want to get them going. Look at that, Mommy. He keeps putting his hand in the frying pan. I know. Don't you try that, but it's the only way I can function in the kitchen. Give them a toss. You see, the carrot is really there primarily for color and to add a little bit of sugar, sweetness. When you toast the carrot, there you go. When you toast the carrot, you'll get a marvelous bit of sugar. Carrots have a lot of natural sugar, and they make a very nice addition to any fish dish. Now, we're going to close that out with a shot of white wine, and I'm looking for the pesto. Here it is. A shot of white wine, a bit of lemon juice, and some pesto, and maybe some salt and pepper. I don't know if you'll need much. Pesto is a sauce that we've talked about before, and I'm using mine out of a bottle this morning. I'm sorry about that, but it's made of ground fresh basil. Don't try this with old dried basil. It won't work. Fresh basil, walnuts, if you can't afford pine nuts. You see, it's very thick and green. It looks like chopped lawn, let's be honest. In olive oil. Basil, olive oil, garlic, that kind of thing. It's very delicious. The recipe's in, you can find the Italian recipe easily. Okay, a little bit of pepper on our scallops. They're doing well. I don't want to overdo these. Good heavens. All right, and a pinch of salt. That was a pinch. And now we'll add our lemon juice and then finally our pesto, because I don't want to cook the pesto. Green pesto sauce is to be eaten raw, literally raw. And in Genoa, Genovese, where it comes from in Italy, you see, you have this on pasta, and it's wonderful stuff, just wonderful. There we go. All right, now we'll put in the pesto sauce. We just need a tablespoon or so. We don't want to cook it. And make your own. Yes, I know. I just didn't have time today. And it's all right. When you're entertaining too, you have to plan very much ahead because you don't want to be in a panic when your friend comes. And if you live by yourself, and I keep talking about this mythical friend, hey, they just live down the hall, or they're right, you know, it's a telephone call away. Don't eat by yourself. You know why? Let me dish this up, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I have some very strange theories about what goes on when we eat by ourselves, and I think I can back them up. I'll tell you what it means. Just a second here. I'm going to put the scallops. Oh boy. Oh. Eat your heart out. If you're in some part of the country where you can't get scallops, I feel bad. But generally you can buy them frozen. And remember that sometimes it's perfectly all right that foods are frozen. Because things like scallops, you see, would not take the trip. And if it says fresh scallops, and by fresh they mean they've never been frozen, but they don't taste clean. You see, they've been sitting around. You haven't gained a thing. You haven't gained a thing at all. So frozen is all right sometimes. Let me put this out. We need some color here. Now, let me tell you about eating by yourself and why I want you to stop it, even though at the moment you think you can't. Whether you're an older person living by yourself or a young kid in college, there's no reason to eat by yourself for several reasons. One, you don't eat properly. You don't eat properly at all. Isn't that gorgeous? You eat because you have a rather dull image of yourself when you're alone at table. It's no fun to be by yourself. Even if you're lonely, it's better to be lonely with someone else, and that's why we go to restaurants when we're all by ourselves. I understand what happens. So first of all, you eat improperly. You don't treat yourself well. Secondly, you eat too much because there isn't another person across the table saying, I love you, don't stuff yourself, you see. And thirdly, you generally take on a very bad diet regimen because you're nibbling and snacking and fooling around, and you say, well, you know, it's only me and I'm leaving at 7, so I'll just see what's in the refrigerator. You should sit down and entertain yourself, and you can really do that best with another person. That's what I want you to do. Now, for your other person, I suggest you make them chicken under a brick. It's all right. I promise you it'll work. Let me show you something. This is just a gimmick that actually does work. It makes a very delicious dish. First of all, I have pan-fried on both sides a couple of chicken halves, and I've marinated them first. What did I do with my paddle? Here we are. I've marinated my chicken halves first. You won't get to see that, but it's very simple. In olive oil, garlic. Garlic! He's made 4 dishes, Agnes, and he's got garlic and everything. Well, I expect a wild evening. Don't invite someone over who doesn't like garlic. You're not going to have any fun. Not at all. So we have some garlic, olive oil, rosemary, and I think I put some thyme in that too. Let me check my list. I always keep recipes even if I have one person coming. I write things down so that when they come in, I can give them a hug and we can pour a glass of sherry and start talking. Keep yourself organized so you don't get all lost. Oregano and rosemary, along with olive oil and garlic. Marinate the chicken for about an hour and then brown them severely on each side, you see. I just cut the chicken in half. You understand how this came apart, right? This is what they did to me when I had open heart surgery. And I've never felt so good, so don't feel bad for the chicken. All right? Brown him on both sides. And in the oven, I have heated 2 bricks. Yes, at 375 for about an hour. Now these two are cold, of course, but I want to show you how this is done. Will you stop laughing? It's not a gimmick in that sense. It's going to work. The reason I'm doing this, of course, is because chickens in our time are so pumped up with water and phony hormones. These poor chickens have never even scratched around the ground. And don't ask me about doing a show on, on lovemaking, for heaven's sakes, when these 2 chickens, never mind. You know, they don't have a good life. They're used, and I'm sorry about that. We're going to put the chicken halves in our baking pan, and then put just a tiny chunk of aluminum foil on them. Don't misunderstand me now. I don't want to cover them with aluminum foil. I just want to protect them from the dirtiness of the brick. Yes, I got these out in the backyard, same place you're going to get yours. And then on the top of each one, we set 1 hot brick. Plunk. Balance that rascal. There it is. And this, you see, the chicken is so full of water and moisture that we can press it out with a hot brick. It'll take 45 minutes to cook, and the moisture will come out of the brick, and you'll have that kind of chicken that I used to know as a child, the chicken that ran around in our backyard. Yes, it was hard for me when my mother killed them. I usually had them all named, you see, and I'd come home and Harold was gone. But that's all right. I always loved the chicken and noodles. There we go. My mother always entertained me that way. Even if the rest of the family was gone and we would have lunch together, my mother always treated me as a whole person from the time I was little. I think that's one of the reasons why the table is so important to me. And it should certainly be that with your children. If you have parties, don't throw them out. Don't have them eat hamburgers and green peas down the hallway when you entertain real people. Invite them in. And if you live by yourself, just for kicks sometime, invite some kids over. You can do it. You can do it. And it takes some planning, but you can do it. All right, I have a chicken under a brick all ready to go here for you. I hope. Yes, it's done. I can smell it. I didn't have to look. You train your nose to know what's going on. Now, what do we do with the hot bricks? These are really hot, so we'll get them off the old bird here. Are you ready? There they go. You see, they've been flattened out a bit. They're also sticking to my aluminum foil. That wasn't planned. There we go. Got them. The chicken looks a little flat, but the moisture, the water has come out of him, so he's really very nice. Let's put those on a platter. Isn't this a kick when you bring someone home and they're really impressed with the fact that you're cooking for them and they say, what are we going to have for dinner? And you say, chicken under a brick. Oh, there we are. We need a little garnish on that. That's really gross looking, isn't it? That is to say it looks bare. Poor chicken is given all he can give. Don't serve him naked. At least dress him up a bit. There you are. Unless you expect your party to get out of hand. There we are. Okay, that's a little bit better. And now then, we'll put that out and talk about, ouch. Okay. There we have 4 dishes. Is that all of them? Yes, that's everything. Sure, I'm missing something. No, I'm not. All 4 dishes, so that you can entertain properly. And the theory here, of course, is not the food, but preparation. In very short time, I've done all of these for you. And I want to give you the confidence to go ahead and do that for one another. And eventually, accept the fact that you're responsible for your own entertainment. I know a lot of people who are bored in this world, and I've really decided that it's their own fault. The place is utterly exciting. You remember the line in Auntie Mame? She's coming down the staircase, and I'll clean this up for the children. She's coming down the staircase, and she's talking with her nephew, and she says, Richard, I think was his name, and she said, Richard, the whole world is a banquet feast, and those poor fools are starving to death. There's no reason to starve to death. Cook for one another and have a good time. It doesn't matter what you eat, but the feast depends on who you eat it with. So today, for my guest, who will be here very shortly, as a matter of fact, I've prepared chicken under a brick. And no, my guest doesn't know about this. Presses out some of the moisture. Then I've prepared scallops, which you could use as a first course, I suppose. Scallops and pesto. I'm not suggesting you serve all of these at once, for heaven's sake. You can do whatever you want. But scallops and pesto are absolutely delicious. And then fish fried, white fish fried with hazelnuts. Beautiful stuff. And then finally, I open the meal with a beautiful Boston bib or butter lettuce with shrimp and a vinaigrette dressing on the top. I think that is sufficient for any major love scene. You can have a lot of fun at the table. And when you consider other table scenes that we've known through history, because you and I love the movies, we think Casablanca, wonderful. Or remember Hepburn, not Hepburn, what was her name? In Breakfast at Tiffany's? Wonderful scenes, and it's always around food. And the table's a proper place for lovemaking. You know? That goes back to biblical times. In the Bible, love was more important than any other kind of involvement. Indeed, eating was a sign of very serious commitment. That's a wonderful thing to think about. So don't eat by yourself. It's just not worth it. You'll eat much better if you'll have a friend in, and you can enjoy yourself celebrating your own value. That's really what's at stake, because you're worth the entertainment. So invite someone nice in. Invite someone that you love and put out. You don't have to serve everything all at once. You can serve any one of these at any time. It doesn't matter to me. Or make up your own menu, of course. But the point is that you don't eat by yourself. Bring in someone else that you love and have a good time. There. One last line about the table. Confucius said, you didn't know I knew Confucius, did you? Confucius said that we all know that there are 2 major drives. Sounds like Freud, but it was Confucius. 2 major drives, one for sex and one for food. And we also all know, he said, that the most important drive is for food. He's not talking about eating, he's talking about community. And that's what I want you to think about when you feed your friend. Until I see you again then, this is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.